Let's get going, baby. Let's keep going. All right, we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to a special Sunday night episode of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. The Titans lost today, so we're not going to talk about it. I'm just going to put that out there. So I know that we lost, and I don't need any reminders. At this point, I'm numb to it. But I'm happy that I can get on the live stream so we can do what we do and actually have some enjoyment and some fun today. We're streaming live now on TikTok. We're going to bring... Okay, we got our friends from the Tube on as well. And then we'll bring our friends on from the book. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Use the comment section to let me know where you're checking in from. And also let me know your name too, if it doesn't show your name already. Depending on where you're watching from, it may already show your name. Let me see who we got here. Braden. Okay, Braden, what's up? Amanda, Lori. Go ahead and make yourself a home. We're talking about 4 ways that depression can affect you, and more specifically, your sex drive, right? So 4 hidden signs of depression that can lead to hypersexuality is a title that we have here today. I wasn't able to put all that on TikTok. I only have so many characters that I'm working with. So I just put depression and hypersexuality. But I was able to put the full title on other platforms. Let's go ahead and bring our friends from the book in. Let's bring him in. What's going on? I hope you're doing good on this Sunday night, depending on where you're at in the world. If you're in Europe right now, it's Monday morning. But I'm streaming from the West Coast of the United States. My name is Kojo Sarfo, and this is another episode of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. We're talking about 4 hidden signs of depression that lead to hypersexuality. So we have a great topic here tonight. I put the topic out on TikTok last night, and people had a chance to sign up. So we had a couple of sign-ups. I put the topics for the rest of the week on TikTok, so you can go sign up ahead of time. I've never done this before, but I'm excited because now we're able to be a bit more organized, and people can get their schedules right, so that way they don't miss me. So let me make sure everybody's here. We're good to go, and I got my list right here. Okay, yeah, there we go. I got my list. Yeah, 4 hidden signs of depression that can lead to hypersexuality. Let me make sure I can see all my boys and girls from the book. All right. You can't see all yet. There we go. And of course, I see my TikTokers. Missy just joined. Kai Wood. Okay. And we're not having any camera issues today, which is a blessing. Yesterday, for some reason, my camera was tripping. I got this Sony setup. It shouldn't be tripping. It should be looking good. But looks like we're rolling once again. Awesome. All right, guys. Let's get into it. All right. So I've done this live stream before where I've talked about depression. I'm not sure if we've talked about depression and hypersexuality specifically. I think we've talked about it within the context of bipolar disorder, but we've never talked about it in the context of depression. And obviously, depression is a part of bipolar disorder. But I got 4 signs, so 4 symptoms of depression that can be connected to hypersexuality. And it's interesting because a lot of times when people think of somebody who's depressed, you think of somebody who is sad and tired, and they don't want to get out of bed, and they're having issues with their memory. You think of the person who sleeps at 5 a.m., wakes up at 3, 4 p.m., the whole day is done, and they just kind of like drag throughout the day. All of those things can be depression. Yes, that can be depression. However, the symptoms of depression can look different depending on who you are, and depending on how you cope with your depressive thoughts. It can lead into things like hypersexuality and substance use and so on and so forth. So we're going to see if we can find a connection tonight. And if we can find a connection, that means that we're able to recognize certain patterns within ourselves or within the people that we love. And when we recognize the pattern, we can intervene. Or when it's happening to us, we can be like, okay. I know where I'm at right now. I'm going to just take a break. I'm going to just get some sleep and I'm going to put things on chill mode for a little bit before I do things that I probably didn't want to do. All right? Oh, somebody dropped a cake for me on TikTok. I don't know what I did to deserve a cake. It ain't my birthday, but I definitely will take it. I appreciate that. Asia, thank you for coming through. We got Kurt saying, I've been depersonalization for a long time, lost myself to people-pleasing living vicariously through others because I couldn't face myself. Now I'm 28 and I realize I have no clue who I am. So Kurt, understand that a lot of us here, this is a neurodivergent community, so a lot of us are just now figuring out who we are. And a lot of times, I like how you mentioned identity. A lot of times when you struggle, it boils down to identity. Because before you know what you want to do and how you want to do things and who you want to work with, you have to have some sense of self. And having an identity can help you when you get to a depressed state. A lot of people, when they get depressed, or maybe you're at a manic high, or maybe you could be in an episode of psychosis. When you know who you are, I feel like you make better decisions. When your sense of self is a bit more foundational, you tend to make better decisions. Because yes, you're still hearing voices. Yes, you're still seeing things that others can't see. But you know yourself. So you're going to put yourself in a better position. You'll get help. You'll talk to other people. So Kurt, we got you. All right. So let's talk about these signs. Make sure my people in the book can see me. Somebody says, isn't hypersexuality a part of being SA'd at a young age? So, well, before we get to signs and symptoms, let's talk about that real quick. And let me put this like this so I can see everybody's comments. It's great like that. Okay, alright guys, so you can see hypersexuality in many different instances. There is a connection between hypersexuality and trauma. There's connection in people who have manic episodes, people who have experienced SA. There are different types of trauma that will manifest in an adult. And you don't realize it sometimes until you get into an intimate relationship with somebody and you realize that you're not able to move the way you want to move, or there's some type of block there. And you think back to the things that happened to you. And until you talk about these things, it's hard to move forward. And especially with men, there's a lot of shame that's attached to different types of trauma and talking through it. And unfortunately, until we can talk about those things, we're going to be kind of stuck. And sometimes when bad things happen to us at an earlier age and we don't really process it, it will manifest itself in some sort of hypersexuality or something that you can do to connect with people. Because a lot of the time, it's not really a high sex drive. And especially within people who are depressed. I don't see the hypersexuality to be linked to like a high sex drive. It's more so of a longing and a craving for connection. Like you want to connect, and this is how you connect. So it's not really a sex drive thing. It's more so of a connection thing, in my opinion. Let me see. A genuine desire to know yourself. Okay. All right. So number one, on my list right here. Okay. 4 ways that depression can look like hypersexuality. All right. So number one, we have insomnia or racing thoughts. So as your mood dips, it can be harder for you to get to sleep. And this is why we see a lot of people who are depressed sleep at those odd hours. The depression schedule, the 3, 4, 5 a.m., sometimes 6 a.m., wake up at 2 p.m., 3 p.m. You're still getting 8, 9 hours of sleep, but you don't feel rested when you wake up. And you have this sense of dread and you feel like you're defeated because you wake up and the sun is going down and you haven't accomplished anything, and that normally spirals into a couple of other bad decisions. When you have insomnia or racing thoughts, one of the best ways that you can deal with this is by being mindful. But how do you be mindful, or how do you meditate when you're having all these racing thoughts? It's pretty difficult to train your brain to do these things. So the fastest way to be mindful, obviously, is to use substances. Get drunk, get tipsy, get high. People do all of those things because you want to escape your thoughts. One way that people escape their thoughts is also through sex. So if you're having all these thoughts and you don't want to sit with your thoughts and you don't want to sit by yourself, people sometimes tend to seek connection by finding other people. And this could be, it could be, your partner. It doesn't have to be like somebody that's on the periphery, but it could be your partner. And all of a sudden your drive is so much more increased because you're having racing thoughts. You're anxious. You don't want to sit with yourself. And sitting with yourself is normally how you make progress, but what's scarier than sitting by yourself and dealing with your own thoughts? And this is why it's helpful to get out of the house. Now, I know if you're having racing thoughts at night, okay, there's only so many places you can go to, right? Like what's open at night? The bar, clubs, there's not a lot of, libraries open at night where you can just go and calmly meditate and just gather your thoughts. But those inside thoughts can be quite difficult, because you're sitting inside the house and you're trying to work out a mental problem in your head and you're not taking some type of action, and then you're becoming more and more anxious. And because this is the nighttime insomnia and the irritability, generally it tends to lead to things that you can do at night. So sometimes we see hypersexuality as a result. And I see this comment from Talita. We thought something was wrong with me because I wasn't a sexually driven person. I didn't feel sexual until my second child. Right, so, and guys, like I said earlier, there's a lot of different things that can lead to not only a spike, but also a decrease in drive. Because sometimes you'll be depressed and your drive will be absent, which I feel like I tend to see a fair amount of that. You see that as well. You become depressed, you lose your desire for a lot of things that you used to enjoy. You no longer enjoy it. You used to enjoy playing golf with the guys on Sundays. No longer doing it. You used to, like getting your hair done every, second Thursday of the month. You're no longer doing that. No longer hanging out with the girls. You're staying in the house. And sometimes you can see, a lot of times you see decreased sex drive as well. So it's interesting. Depends on the person. Depends on the person. And as I said, out of the house is where I draw the line. You got to get out of the house. Now, I know at night might not be the safest, but you have to get out of the house. If your mood is low, you have to find a way. Even if you can just go to the backyard, just to take in fresh air. There's nothing like getting outside of the house. And keep in mind, you got to be kind to yourself, because when you're depressed, everything is 3 times as hard to do, and everything will take much longer. So if it was, doing laundry on the weekends, and it would normally take you an hour and a half, it could take you 5 hours if you're in the middle of a depressive episode, because now you're thinking about every single little step. You got to get the clothes into the basket, then you have to put the clothes from the washer to the dryer, then you have to make sure you get some soap. You ran out of soap, so you have to go to the store and get some more soap. Everything becomes so much harder to do when you're depressed, which is why self-compassion is key. It's key. And Megan says, there's nothing more intimidating than sitting with our own thoughts. You have changed my thoughts in more ways than one. I thank you for your platform. My therapist had no idea who you were until I turned on to you. Megan, I appreciate that. And also to your therapist, I appreciate the attention. And I agree with you. It's hard to sit with your own thoughts. This is why meditation is very difficult. And for me, when I meditate, I get the most benefit when I do it for at least 25, 30 minutes. And that's really hard. Imagine me right now in this room, looking at this wall and just staring at the wall for 30 minutes straight. Just staring at the wall. The first 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, that's when I'm going crazy. I'm having all these thoughts, and I'm thinking of the things I forgot to do, and I want to do all those things, but then I remind myself that I said, I'm just going to sit here and meditate. And that's how you get the breakthrough. Like the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, you're just so pissed off that you can't do anything. And by minute 20, I tend to surrender. And I just allow things to be. I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna sit in this chair. The thoughts that I have are the thoughts that I have, and they don't represent me. But I'm just gonna let the thoughts come in and leave. So you fight with your brain until you're like, all right, you know what? I'm not gonna do this anymore. You got it. You got it, brain. You got it. Crystal, what's going on? What's going on, Crystal? Jules and Blue. What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, and you're so right about depression causing overthinking of every step. Some advice to help me get through it. Don't think about it, just do it. Guys, the indecisiveness, and that's normally an early sign that things are getting bad. Indecisiveness. And it's not with big things in life. Like if you get accepted into Harvard or Rutgers and you're like, I'm not sure. Like, I want to go to Rutgers because my family's from New Jersey, but then I also want to go to Harvard. I don't know what to do. All right, guys, that's a big decision. All right, so if you're indecisive about that, that's normal. Okay, that's normal. That's not an early sign of depression. But when you're indecisive about, do I want to drink this bottle of water, or I think I should go for sparkling water. Like, this is a good example, an early sign of depression. I don't know if I should drink this sparkling water, or if I drink this water. Like, this makes my stomach like bubbly, but I think I should do this. But then I already opened this, so like I should probably just finish it. But I'm not in the mood for this. And it's blue. I don't like blue. Why did I buy blue? I thought I wanted blue. Maybe I should just but I haven't opened this. And you could spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes figuring out what to drink. So if these, I don't want to say small because, it's still a decision. But when the lower level tasks become difficult to figure out what you're going to do, that's an early sign of depression. You can't really figure out what you're going to do. You're just very indecisive. And your brain is working twice as hard as it normally works. Twice as hard as you need to work, because you got to keep your valuable brain cells for solving the big problems of the day. But now we can't figure out if we want sparkling water or if we want regular water. It's not because you use all your valuable cells thinking about what type of water you want. Then as you become more hopeless and helpless, your decision making kind of drops. So if you have a thought of, I want to hook up with so-and-so, or I'm going to get with, or I'm going to call my ex. It's like one thing leads to another. And when your brain is tired, especially during the nighttime, when your brain is tired, your decision-making capacity kind of goes down. So once we can connect the dots, we can figure out how to put a better plan together. And Chris J said, this is me every day with everything. And if everything is this difficult to decide between, I think it could be helpful for you to give yourself some grace. Because there's a lot of shame that comes from not knowing what type of water you want to drink. Because if you tell somebody, they're normally going to be like, what do you mean you don't know what type of water to drink? Just drink the damn water. What you mean? But for you, like, you really know that it took you 25 minutes to decide what type of water you wanted to drink. And you didn't drink either one. Right? So you got to be kind to yourself. You got to be kind to yourself. And Josh says depression. Yeah. We're talking about depression in that. And Shadow on site actually says, being indecisive is so hard sometimes. It's so hard to choose sometimes whether to text them or not. It's so draining afterwards. I become numb for hours on end. And the time, I think that's one of the worst things about depression, honestly. The time that it strips away from you. I mean, most of us will pay extra money to skip lines. We'll pay for faster Wi-Fi. We feel like we need things now. We will part with our money before we part with our time. So time is the most valuable asset. And I mean, depression can lead to a lot of, bad results. And obviously unaliving is, like that's the big one that everybody's thinking about. But the loss of time, it strips away years from people's lives. And then the decisions that you make when you're at a low, whether it's a hypersexuality or whether it's the bad connections you made, that leaves you with guilt. And the guilt turns into shame. And you don't like yourself. And then you continue to spiral. So we got to connect the dots and intervene before it starts to kind of like go like this, you feel me? We got to intervene. We got to intervene. All right. So the second hidden side of depression that can lead to hypersexuality is anhedonia. All right. So this is a very fancy word, anhedonia. It means you just no longer like anything. You've lost interest in things. Things don't give you pleasure, and you're very apathetic. Okay. And anhedonia it's not good. It's not good because you want people to feel something. Because when you become apathetic, it's like that's the real life embodiment of IDGAF. Like, I don't care. I don't care. You should care. It's better to feel angry about something than to not feel anything at all. When you get to straight apathy, you're like, oh, well. It is what it is. You're not able to slow your brain down and make the best possible decisions for you. So if you're in the middle of a depressive funk and your room is dirty, you haven't been eating right, you're not going to the gym, you're not replying to text messages and calls, at this point in time, you don't feel the best about yourself. So are you really going to make the best possible decisions for you? Because you don't care. It's like, whatever, I don't care. I'll text my ex real quick. I don't care. I'll go hook up with someone. I don't care. I'll go to the bar tonight and the first person I see, I bring them home. I don't care. I really don't care. The issue with this is that you have to live with the decisions that you made when you didn't care, when you get better, and you do care. All right? The depression is temporary, right? We hope. And at some point you feel better, but you still have to deal with the aftermath of everything you did when you didn't give a damn. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? This is me. And look, you don't judge yourself. You don't judge yourself when this happens. You can't, because in a depressed state, your brain is not your friend. Okay? And I mean, there's other times outside depression when your brain isn't your friend, because your brain is meant to keep you alive, right? Your brain wants to keep you safe. Your brain wants to keep you alive. Your brain isn't really trying to help you take risks. Your brain wants to just keep you, like, let's just stay alive, right? But when you're depressed, positive thoughts don't register. It's like a different language. So any passing positive thought when you're depressed, you're like, whatever. But then the negative ones, when they come in, you're like, yes, this reinforces what I believe about myself. I'm no good, I'm worthless. You really believe that. And if you take that belief and you stack that on top of apathy and anhedonia, then now we really don't care. Like, you don't care. Like I said, you'll go to the bar and you'll hook up with whoever. I don't care. They could be married. I'm going to do what I want to do because I don't care. And at this point, your vision becomes so short-sighted. So you can't really see into the future. So you're not making like future-oriented decisions. You're just trying to feel something right now. You're trying to feel a little bit of pleasure. That's what it is, because you haven't felt anything. So you just want to feel anything. And interestingly enough, hypersexuality in this context is also the same reason why I believe people will, make a mark on their arms. I don't know what to say without getting banned here on the live stream. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They'll self-inflicted things that they draw on their arms, right? People do that because they want to feel something. They want to feel the pain. They'd rather feel something than to feel nothing. And I've talked to my patients who've had a history of doing that, and I would always ask them, I'm like, okay, so when you draw on your arms, what does they draw? Y'all know what I'm talking about. I say, when you draw on your arms, like, what does that do? And they'll say, oh, like, it makes me feel good. Like, I get to feel something. I get to see, bread coming down my, like, they get to feel something. right? So apathy is more dangerous than you think. Just being like, like, I want you to feel something. And anger is not a bad emotion. And I think, we should try teaching kids back in, second, third grade, like, all right, teach these kids how to deal with big emotions and small emotions. It's okay to be angry. It's worse to hold the anger back. Because when it comes out, it's like one of those diarrheas, like you don't know if it's a fart or a shit, like a shark. You ever been driving and you trusted your body a little bit too much? You try to like fart low key and then too much came out. I know I'm not the only one, so maybe I won't admit this in the chat, but I know I ain't the only one who's done that. And then you have to drive back home because you're like, all right, I ain't got no more underwear, and the car smelled like ass. I just shorted on myself. My goodness. I met Megan. I wish I was in Massachusetts too. What? Look, I am in Massachusetts because we're connecting through the live stream. So I am in Massachusetts. Candace, how you doing? Candace Sanchez, I appreciate you for coming through. And Talita said, I tried every type of therapy since I was a little girl. Maybe the shock therapy I did can work on my brain and my back. I think we've spoken about shock therapy before, a little bit online, but the most effective thing that can be done for depression, even more than antidepressants, is electroconvulsive therapy. So this is not what Hollywood portrays in the movies, but this is when you go to the hospital and like you get put under anesthesia and we induce a therapeutic seizure. So we induce a seizure, rearrange some of the chemicals in your brain, and it's been shown to be very helpful for depression. So people don't know that. People think of shock therapy and they think of lobotomies. We don't do lobotomies, we don't do that. I mean, at one point we did, but we don't do that no more. And I know I'm not the only one who's shorted on themselves. I know. And Bunny says, I was the worst version of myself when I was hooking up a lot. I think we should talk about that a lot more, because we live in a day and age where you can, the same phone that you're watching this live stream on, you can download a couple of apps, the Hinges and the Bumbles, and I have nothing against those companies, but you can download an app and you can have a different person every day of the week. Like, you can do it, you can have a roster. I mean, you can have a starting five, you can have a point guard, you can have a small forward, you can have a six man, you can have a kicker. I mean, there's not a lot of barriers or things that restrain us from just wilding out. And if you're living your best life and you're wilding out and like you're just having fun, okay, all right, like girls just want to have fun, and guys just want to have fun. That's cool, but you have to ask yourself, like, is that what you actually wanted? Like, if it was a decision that you made and you wanted to do, cool. But if you felt like you were at a low and you're making a decision, then you're like, it really wasn't the best representation of what I wanted to do at that particular time. I'm still not looking for friends with benefits. Right, and I think that these apps, I could be wrong. Maybe the apps have evolved. Maybe they've changed the game, but I feel like, nowadays it's all friends with benefits. Like, if you go on one of these apps, that's what people want. There are a couple of people who find their person on the apps, but for the most part, it's just like, you want to have a good time. And ain't nothing wrong with having a good time, but when people who are looking for a good time run into people who are looking for a lifelong partner, then now we got issues. All right, okay. So the third hidden sign, and for those of you who are just joining, number 1 and 2, the first hidden sign of depression that can lead to hypersexuality, insomnia, and racing thoughts, and that can lead to you using sex as a distraction. Then the second one is anhedonia, not really feeling joy about anything. And then you chase a feeling, you go hooking up, you feel empty afterwards. The third hidden sign of depression that can lead to hypersexuality is low self-esteem, which goes hand in hand with guilt. And these are key signs of depression. I mean, these are the classic signs of depression. You don't like yourself. You don't like what you've done. That's what low self-esteem is. Low self-esteem is you don't like yourself. So when you don't like yourself, you're going to allow yourself to be disrespected. You're going to push away people who try to help you. You're going to push away people who like you. And you know what's going on in your brain during this time is you're at a low. You don't like yourself. And somebody likes you. And then you're like, I don't even like myself. Why would they like me? And then push them away. Right? And then you have the guilt. And the guilt is not liking what you've done in the past. The shame is not liking who you are. And when it gets to that point, I mean, it's tough to climb out of that. It's tough to climb out of that. And I've seen it. I've had more success bringing people down than bringing people up. All right? And my acting teacher said this to me once in class because he was trying to get more expression out of me in the scenes. And for whatever reason, I wasn't able to I wasn't able to give my all in the acting scenes. And he was like, oh, Kojo, see, is that therapist training that you have? Because you have the training as a therapist, like you stay calm, you stay cool in situations, but I need you to explode, So we were working in class to help me explode so I could act and, bring that out of me. And he said something that I really agree with. He said, it's easier to have you elevated and, you can be acting incorrectly or, maybe your energy isn't channeled properly, but we can bring you down. But it's really hard to bring you up. Same way with self-esteem. And it is hard, relatively speaking, to take somebody who's a narcissist and, overly obsessed about themselves and bring them down. Okay, it can be hard. But I think that's easier than trying to lift somebody up. Because the narcissist, or the person who has that elevated sense of self, we just have to get them to think about themselves less. All right? Yeah, you think you're the best. You are great. You're a special person. But let's, think about other people. Interestingly enough, when you're at a low and you think about other people, you feel better because you're not so self-absorbed with yourself. So there's an aspect to thinking about others and helping others. But I think it's a bit easier to bring somebody down than it is to bring them up. Jessica Bonds, I appreciate you. Jessica on the book, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Cody, what's going on, Cody? Childhood trauma turned into a mental professional advocate. Yeah, all of us who do this have a fair amount of childhood trauma. That's like one of the prerequisites. Like, if you're going to be a mental health professional or a stand-up comedian, they don't let you into the club unless you have childhood trauma. Like, you have to meet all the requirements. So I've already gone through all my training. I picked out all my childhood trauma, infinity stones, and I picked up all of that. So I got my training. So I'm ready to do this, to be a mental professional and to be a stand-up comedian, because you take all the things that you've experienced and you combine it with what you've learned, and then boom, you have the knowledge and really the wisdom, which is applied knowledge, to help out other people. I push people away before they can hurt you. Right, which is a form of self-sabotage. Right? So if you have low self-esteem and don't like yourself, then how are you going to feel better? Okay? Because you don't like yourself, but you want to feel good. The best way to feel good long-term is to actually be good within. Right? But the Band-Aid is feeling good temporarily. And you can do this by getting attention. And how can you get attention from others? By putting yourself in situations where they validate you. And I mean, we do this through social media. And I know, and whenever you post a video that goes viral online, the part of your brain that lights up is the same part of your brain that lights up when you're doing hard drugs. So whenever my videos are going crazy online, I'm getting millions of views, which tends to happen, now that's how the videos do. I've had to level myself out and not get too high off my own supply. Because that high, it's I mean, it's one of the highest, it's one of the highest highs I've ever experienced, and I've done drugs, right? So the dopamine rush from a lot of views and attention, you gotta be dangerous. I mean, you gotta be careful because that's dangerous, And if you're at a point where you got low self-esteem and you don't like yourself, one of the best ways to get attention is to be physical and be intimate with people. What more validating thing can you experience than, like, we just hooked up? Like, that's a validating thing. The other person has to like you, at least in some capacity, you would think. But I think, especially in today's day and age, we have a special way of, and look, I'm no better either. But we have a special talent of being able to hook up with people that we don't like. And it does make sense. When you think about it after the fact, you're like, hold up, this wasn't my best week, wasn't my best month, was not my best year, was not my best 2 years, right? But when you really understand, and once again, you look for patterns, you're like, okay, all right, I did this because I was feeling like this, and I was feeling like this because I didn't like myself this time, and I didn't like myself this time because I was depressed. Got it. Then you can turn everything around. And Talita says, Christian says, I decided to be infinitely celibate from hypersexuality. Once you gain this, and celibacy does help, especially if you're at a point where you're not feeling much of any pleasure. Then you don't want to rig your brain and find like the quick fix. Richard, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Richard. And Cody says, I gotta get the attachment trauma. Cody, are we escapism? Yeah. And look, Claudizo, escapism is important for all of us. The reason why we spend hundreds of dollars to go to these sporting events and scream for grown men and grown women who are tackling each other and sweating and running up and down the field or a court for multiple hours is because we need escapism. That's why we love sports. That's why we go on cruises and vacations, because you want an escape from real life. But sports and, cruises are a bit more healthier than self-sabotage and other ways that we can escape. Liz, I appreciate you. I might have self-esteem problems. Elf. I've never heard that before. Take off the S. Self-esteem. That's funny. Dr. Lizzie, how you doing? Self-esteem. That is hilarious. And Sid says, how do you feel about TMS? I'm a fan of TMS. I had a friend in Atlanta who he was running a TMS clinic, and he was explaining the behind the scenes of the business. I thought it was quite fascinating. Because more people, I think, would open, more people are open to TMS, the transcranial magnetic stimulation, because something's happening in your head like this. But the ECT, it seems scarier, but it's more effective. I do believe it's more effective. But it's just scarier, it's just scary. So, and like the movies make it seem so bad. Somebody said alcohol vacation. And Ezra says, I don't get it. How can I not like myself? Other people already irritate me enough. Give me 100 of me. And Ezra, I like that esteem that you have. Without the S, the esteem. I would rather you be up here than to be down here. We can bring somebody down here. You just have to get them to, hey, let's consider the rest of the people who we are sharing this earth with. But down here, there's a fundamental belief sometimes that you are broken or defective. And we have to change that belief. That's what we have to do. We have to change that belief. Until we change that belief, we're not going to go anywhere. You don't make any progress. And what's behind that belief is also identity. So this, it digs deep. It really digs deep. All right. So we had the low self-esteem and guilt. That was the third sign of depression that could lead to hypersexuality. And as your self-esteem is so low, the things you do looking for attention. That's the connection there. Now, number four. All right, so this one is interesting right here because you see this not just in depression, but you can see it in schizophrenia. You can see it definitely with people who have had trauma. But this is called a flat affect. So when we say affect, we're looking at how somebody presents. Like in psychiatry, an affect, right? So if your affect is flat or is blunted or it's kind of like low vibrations. That's how I would describe it. Like if your vibration is kind of like low, right? If life is flat and you're at a low, you wouldn't want to be there for too long. You want connection. This all revolves around connection. And I do believe that at a low, the things that you think about yourself prevents you from getting connection. Like you think that you're a burden, so you're not going to connect with people. So you have this blunted and this kind of a flat affect where it's just kind of like your vibrations are low. And if your vibrations are low and you're going out to the world with these low vibrations, you tend to not meet people who are vibrating up here, right? Or even if you met people who are up here, they would piss you off. Because you'd be like, why are you so damn happy? Like, why are you always smiling? Because you're looking for what's wrong with life. And they're looking for what's right with life. They're vibrating up high here. And if you're just vibrating like this, you're like, all right, this low grade vibrational territory. And once again, to shake out of this, we have to work on our identity, our beliefs. And when your vibration is that low and you want to feel good again, substances, self-sabotage, hypersexuality, video game addiction, gambling. I made a post about gambling. I should have made a part 2 about it because I was talking about sports gambling specifically. In 5 to 10 years, maybe sooner, we're going to talk about a lot of people who have really struggled dealing with sports gambling. And it seems so benign. Like, oh, I was just on FanDuel. I just made a couple of parlays. People are losing lots of money with sports gambling. I have friends and patients, people that I know who've lost anywhere from $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Relationships have ended because somebody has a habit of gambling. And it normally comes because, they're chasing something. They want to feel something. They want to feel better. We're going to talk about that one of these days. Gambling. Gambling. Other people do join my live sometimes, but I got to figure out how to. Actually, can somebody join the live with the setup? Gambling. A little right way for you. Settings. Let's see. There should be an option. And whenever I do the live streams where is this straight the camera on TikTok, you can most certainly bring somebody in. Because that's the normal way to do the live streams. It just said, with this setup, I get the HD, like this is so high quality. When you're scrolling on TikTok, you look at people's live streams, like this one stands out. And maybe I'm too focused on the quality of it, but it stands out. I like that. See, how do you... Let me ask Google how to join. How to get someone to join Cause I'll bring on a person or two. Your TikTok live with with the streaming setup. Cause this is completely different. If you've never streamed before, we gotta use this like a server key, and it gets complicated. Let me see. How do you get someone to join? Tap guest at the bottom. Okay, let me see. I'm just gonna pick somebody. Shaz Nay. I know you just joined, but I'm trying to see something here real quick. Oh, I don't think you can make him join like that. I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do it. I don't think I can do it. I'm trying. Yeah. I think I have to go live with the normal setup. Gotcha. So for people like me who want to be fancy, this is what we get. Alright. I'm looking at the comments from Destiny saying, just broke up with my boyfriend and this is one of the issues. We wouldn't have made it because of this anyway. Guys, go back to the gambling. It's a big issue. It's a big issue. And once again, anything that you can get with a click of a button that's available to you on your phone, you should exercise some caution with. Whether it's gambling on FanDuel, whether it's DoorDash and ordering food for yourself, because that gets expensive. Whether it's getting Uber X's for everything, whether it's joining all the different dating apps, and then now you have 7 dates lined up for the week. Anything that we can get quick hits of dopamine from, we should be very careful with. Even the phones. I know y'all watching me right here on this live stream, and I most definitely appreciate your attention. Without your attention, I can't do any of this. But we should be mindful of the doom scrolling and being on your phone 24/7. And when you wake up, it's the first thing you reach for. When you go to bed, it's in your hand. It helps to have something else to replace it with. Maybe reading a book, going for a walk. Remember when we used to go for walks? Remember we used to go outside and we used to touch grass and do stuff like that? But, it's in this world where we need things fast. It doesn't happen as much. Destiny said he stayed on the phone even when he was broke, fake gambling, and then drove to casino to play free plays. And Destiny, I need you to understand that when people do this, a lot of times, it's a legitimate addiction. So it's not done, with intention of hurting you or even hurting themselves, but it's an addiction. You become addicted to the rush. And all the times that you lose pale in comparison to the one time that the parlay hit, the one time that you won $1,700. You're living off that rush. But when the smoke clears, you've lost $12,000. And there are some people out there. I know we have that one guy, I think his name is Mattress Mac in Texas, who he puts the big bets out and he wins a couple of them. But for the most part, gambling is a losing game. And it's an addiction, and it's an awful one. You gotta be very careful. You gotta be very careful. Already, we cannot invite people with this current setup. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You have to be on your phone, I think. So it just won't work with this setup. I may have to throw in a live stream on TikTok the typical way. I have a call with the people at TikTok this week, so we'll review a couple of different strategies on how we can go live and put together a better broadcast for the people. But I wish I could bring them on this way. There's actually a way to do it on. There's actually a way to. Oh guys, I done thought about something. We can actually bring people on through my StreamYard setup. So it's like I would send somebody like a StreamYard link, and you would see the person on like the other side of the screen, and we could still use the server URL and the stream key to blast it to TikTok. So we could do that. And Tisha Boo says you don't have the guest option on. Tisha Boo, I've always had the guest option on. We've had people come on the live stream so many times. Settings. I don't even have the option to turn it on at the moment, unfortunately. I'm not gonna change the setup. Nah, I'm gonna rock with this setup for a while, cause I'm gonna go frequently, so I like having this setup. This is my IRL toolkit setup. So this is really meant for me on the go. So when I'm at different events in LA and, you know, like my camera guys follow me, this is the setup that, you know, you would use for that. I'm not even hooked up to the actual computer, just the Sony and then this big book bag over here. I can use this at the airport, just wherever I have a good internet signal at. The casino is toxic and amazing at the same time. If you don't have an issue gambling, you don't have to worry about the casino. If it's an issue for you, be careful. Be careful. Be very careful. But yeah, those are 4 ways to recap. 4 signs of depression that can lead to hypersexuality and self-sabotage. And what, like I said before, guys, when we talk about hypersexuality in this context, it's not the type that you want, okay? So if you're in a phase where you and the person that you want to, you know, be hooking up with, or your partner or your spouse or whatever, like if y'all are both like having a high drive, okay, that's good. That's what we want. But I'm talking more so about the hypersexuality that's, you know, linked to self-sabotage and doing things that we didn't want to really do, you know? So the 4 signs of depression that can lead to this is insomnia and racing thoughts, anhedonia, loss of pleasure, low self-esteem, guilt, not liking ourselves, and flat affect, emotional blunting, being relatively low vibrational. So if you've experienced any of these things and you've realized that there's a connection between these things and self-sabotage, and we can have a whole live stream on self-sabotage, and we will have to bring back some of those live streams because some of these streams we had years back, and I don't remember if the stream was just on Facebook or if it was also on YouTube, or maybe it never got around to TikTok. But these are streams that we have to have once again about identifying self-sabotage and stopping it. When it comes to that, is this more so of not doing certain things? We can get very far in life by not doing certain things. It's not about what you do, it's about what you don't do. If you can avoid certain things, that right there, that's like cool 65%. And then the other 35 is, you know, doing the things they don't want to do, the boring stuff, that, you know, the working out, the eating right, the meditation, you know, that's still hard, but you have to set yourself up to where you're not putting yourself out of the game. Can't take yourself out of the game. Cannot take yourself out of the game. All right, and let's talk about the live streams that we have coming up for the week. Let me see if I can pull up my live stream schedule on TikTok as if I were reviewing it myself. We also hit 85 million likes on TikTok. So once again, thank you so much, my community. I appreciate y'all. I don't want to pass up on opportunities to thank y'all. I really appreciate every single person that's been following, whether you're a day one OG or whether you just found me here. I appreciate y'all. 85 million likes is pretty cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm looking here on the talk, and yeah, you can schedule lives. So I'm clicking my own page. I see that people have also clicked. So if you go on Dr. Koda's page, it will show tonight's live event, the Personal Hypersexuality, then small business showcase in Flash, So other people have their lives here too. Oh, this is cool. This is really cool. We have a schedule, and I don't know how y'all can see it, but there's a drop down for me that it says live event. Then it has October 12th, which is today, 5:30 p.m. Then it has the live at 8 p.m., which is the time we're gonna stream this week, 8 p.m. On the 16th, it says 6 p.m., but it should be 8 p.m. So I'll get my assistant to adjust that. But it says 8 p.m., 8 p.m., 8 p.m., and 6. It should be 8. This is cool. I like having this order. I like having this routine, organization. I ain't used to it, but it's pretty damn cool. Danny on the book. I'm talking about my live stream schedule, which is over on TikTok. Isabella, how are you? This is really cool, guys. This is really cool. And I've been told about this feature before. I won't lie. It took me years to use it, and then you finally play around with it and you're like, oh, this ain't too bad. Like, this was simple. Why didn't I do this like back then? Like, I should have been doing this. But wait, we got the live schedule out. Let me see. So tomorrow's is ADHD and relationships. Then the next day, Tuesday, is autism and late life diagnoses. And the next day is bipolar disorder and relationships. And the next day is borderline personality disorder and relationships. And that's on Thursday. Friday is a travel day, so that's an off day. This is really cool. And y'all can register. I'll also attach videos to the live streams. So like when I post my videos, especially the ones that get a lot of views, like I'm gonna, add this there so people can see it more and they can come through. This is cool. This is really cool. This is really cool. This is hella cool. Let me see. Let me see, what announcements do I have to make? Announcements do I have to make? All right. October 18th, 8 p.m. 5220 Hollywood Boulevard, the Fourth Wall Comedy Club. It's my next comedy show. So for those of y'all in Southern California, please come out if you can. If not, we'll record it. We'll bring the show back here to y'all on social media. So that's this upcoming Saturday at the Fourth Wall Comedy Club in Hollywood, California. You can navigate your way to my bio or click the Service Plus button here. We'll shoot you a link for all the services that we offer: coaching services, psychiatric services, the neurodivergent community. And Candace, at 8 p.m. what time zone? Good question. 8 p.m. West Coast time. All right. That means it's 11 o'clock if you're in New York. It's 10 o'clock if you're in Nashville. It's 9 o'clock if you're in Arizona. 8 o'clock if you're on the West Coast. That's California and Washington. 7 o'clock in Alaska. So, good question. Good question. Really good question right there. Really good question. Yeah, we'll see with my comedy shows. I'd like to have a couple more comedy shows in Washington. We'll have to see. I'll talk to my team, see what we can make happen. But and I'd like to get a couple in New York this year as well. But for sure, the hometown people in California, we still have the monthly show at the Fourth Wall Comedy Club. So if you're in Southern California, like, you can see me at a show. And we may do an extra one at the Comedy Chateau in North Hollywood. So yeah, SoCal, you don't have to worry about coming out to a show, but the rest of the world, we will be doing our best to bring the shows out to you. And I was in Seattle for the game, the Mariners and Tigers game 5, and Mariners won, so everybody was in a good mood. But What a city. People of Seattle, what a city. People came out, they were celebrating. I was like, I should do a show out here. The people are lively. They're having a good old time. So I definitely hope that I can get a couple of shows in Washington. All right, y'all. So I got a meeting with my assistant here in like 5 minutes. So, and Candace, with Hawaii, how far is Hawaii from like West Coast time? Let me see, Hawaii time right now. Oh my goodness, it's 4:21 in Hawaii right now. Y'all are 3 hours behind. That's cap. Okay, okay. I did not know that. I thought y'all were like just an hour behind, like 2 hours behind. Hawaii Standard Time. Y'all are out on an island. I mean, like literally. Mickey, Vicky. So yeah, 8 p.m. California time would be 5 p.m. Hawaii time. My goodness. Okay. All right. It was like y'all not even part of the U.S. Y'all like your own world. That's cool though. That's cool. I'll get to visit Hawaii one day. Cool. All right. So 5 p.m. Hawaii time this week, and the one live stream that's 6 p.m. It should be 8. So disregard that. We'll make it 8. All right, y'all. So I gotta get off. I gotta get me some rest. I gotta hop in this meeting real quick and then get me some rest. It's been a pleasure streaming with y'all. I hate these shorter live streams though, because I'm like, I'm used to going live for 3-4 hours, but shorter live streams means more frequent live streams. So I like that. That makes me feel good. I can live with that. So we'll be back tomorrow, not at 5:30, but we'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock West Coast time. Once again, that's 11 o'clock if you're in New York, 10 o'clock in Nashville, 9 o'clock in Phoenix, 8 o'clock in Seattle, and 5 p.m. in Honolulu. So